Good morning, it's Grandma Roseanne, and we're going to make an authentic shepherd's pie, just the way they serve it in England. It's going to be outrageously delicious, but we're going to do something a little bit different on this one. I'm going to show you how to make it a weeknight dinner. What, you say shepherd's pie, a weeknight dinner? Yeah, I'm going to show you how to do it. So, first thing we're going to do is I'm going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter in my pan here, and while that's melting I will explain. I ran into a door. I have a huge shiner here and it's almost all gone, but if you're looking and it looks pretty swollen still, it is, but just kind of look past that and just look at the recipe. All right, shepherd's pie on its way. I love this, I really do. So now we have our 2 tablespoons of butter that have melted, and we're going to put in 1 large onion. 1 large onion. We're going to let the onion get a little bit of a head start before we incorporate the other 2 vegetables. All right, our onions have started to soften, and now I'm going to put in 3 garlic cloves, and I'm just going to put that right into the middle of my pan. And I'm going to let this go just for maybe a minute, maybe less. As soon as you start smelling the garlic, that means that it is time to continue on with your recipe. So just moments. Now I'm smelling that wonderful aroma, so I'm mixing the onions in. And then I have shredded 3 carrots, just peeled them and shredded them. If you have a Cuisinart or a Breville like I have, oh, it makes shredding very easy. But if not, just that one is just as good. And I'm going to put just a little bit of salt, not too much. We're actually going to salt the ground beef, but I like to season as we go, so that was probably only 1/8 of a teaspoon that I put into the onions and carrots. And garlic, mustn't forget the garlic. This smells heavenly. Now we are going to add 2 pounds of ground beef, and this is 85% lean. A lot of the recipes call for lamb, so that certainly is an option. It's just that our family really likes ground beef. Now I'm just going to add about 1/2 teaspoon, not very much, just 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. I like each layer to have its own individual seasoning. I think it just works best for the total outcome of the recipe. We're going to give this a good mix, and it's going to cook for 12 minutes. Now this is an important part. You want to be sure that this meat is very, very crumbly, very, very minced. If you don't have one of these little tools, I don't know if you can see it very well, it's got 3 little extensions, and it is a beautiful tool for doing this. Amazon, super cheap, a few bucks, but it gets the job done. Now while this is doing its 12 minutes of getting cooked, I took 2 pounds of russet potatoes. I peeled them, just cubed them, and I'm going to boil them until they are fork tender. This is the topping to our shepherd's pie. Just remember to give it some love through those 12 minutes. Get in there and stir it a little bit. Okay, our ground beef is really cooked all the way through, so it's time for our next step. We have 5 tablespoons of flour, 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. Now we're going to cook this just about another minute, just until that tomato paste gets kind of a darkened red. And obviously you know we're thickening this right now because we're making shepherd's pie, not shepherd's soup. Now, I was always throwing out way too much tomato paste because you open that, even though it's a small can, you open that and you're using 1 teaspoon, 2 teaspoons, maybe a tablespoon, and then it goes bad. So what I do is I just put it in a little baggie and I throw it in my freezer. When I'm ready to cook something, I take it out of the freezer, and in just a matter of minutes, it's defrosted and I can use it. So I don't waste any more now. And this will only cook like about a minute. You will see the color change. But we're cooking the flour and the paste. I know I keep saying how good it smells, but you have no idea how good it smells. Now to this, we are going to put in 1/4 cup of heavy cream. That's just going to enhance the richness of what we're doing here. We're going to let this cook up for about 1 minute. And again, what it's doing is thickening all of our ingredients. Here I have 1 3/4 cup of chicken broth. And I will tell you, I went back and looked at this recipe a second time because I'm using beef. Why am I adding chicken to it? Well, it is correct, and it is a wonderful enhancement when you blend both of those flavors together. Now we're also using 3/4 cup of beer. Whoa. I'm using a Foster's, which is just a very nice beer. I like it for cooking a lot. One of the things that was commented on the recipe is that if you use O'Doul's non-alcoholic, that the sweetness of that beer really adds a lot of flavor to this, but I didn't have any of that. I just had the Foster's, so that's what I'm using. 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And this is the reason that we didn't use very much salt. I only just barely touched it with salt at the very beginning on the onions and carrots. 2 teaspoons of thyme. Thyme is a lovely herb. If you have just even a small pot and a little patio, just plop some thyme seeds in there. And it's wonderful. It grows so easily. Just a little bit of water now and then, and you have fresh herbs. Now we're going to cook this about 15 to 20 minutes. So we have our potatoes, which are boiled to perfection. 2 pounds. We need 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/3 of a cup of heavy cream, and 2 tablespoons of butter. And just about now, are you saying, did you tell me this was a weeknight dinner? No way it's a weeknight dinner. Ah, it is. Just wait, I'm going to show you. The trick is coming. All right, we have done enough of our cooking on this. It should still be soupy, just like this. Can you see that? It still has some soupiness to it. That's what you're looking for. Now here comes the weekday part. Don't assemble them. Have this done, put it in a container in your refrigerator. Have your potatoes done in a container in your refrigerator. When you are ready to combine them during the week, you will bring this up to temperature. 1 cup of frozen peas, bring your potatoes up to temperature, and assemble. I'm going to show you the assembly now. And if I was making this to eat later, I would have stopped at this point. But my nephew is here and he is salivating. So we're going to eat this right away. So you have your broiler-proof container, whatever that is that you are using. You're going to spoon it in. Leave enough room for your potatoes. Now, I have probably half of this left. I am going to go ahead and freeze that or put it in my refrigerator, and we will probably have it midweek because it's that good. My oven is preheated to 375. Now you're just going to nicely and carefully position your potatoes. Now I have smoothed it out, and just take a fork and run some ridges, just like that. Now we have an egg wash, it's just one egg. And we're just going to baste the top. Obviously for weeknight you don't have to run ridges and baste the top, but I am. This is going to go into the 375 oven for 15 minutes. It just finished its 15 minutes in the oven, and I turned off the oven, kicked up the broiler, and it will broil for about 10 minutes, but watch it, okay? Depending on how close you are to that flame, you don't want to burn it. Not at this stage. We're too close to eating. Well, here we are. Isn't it outrageously beautiful? Oh my goodness. We have to let it cool for about 10 minutes, simply because you don't want it just so soupy. You do want it to set up a little bit, and then we will have a taste. Well, one might rightfully ask, I'm supposed to be watching you taste this, but instead I seem to be looking at part of your family room. All right, this is the deal. I forgot to turn the camera around. So I took it out of the casserole dish. I put it on a plate. I took a taste of it and said, oh, it's so good. Now, either you accept this or I have to do the entire recipe again, and I don't want to do that. So I will tell you it was good. My nephew will attest to the fact it was good, and I didn't realize I had created a problem until after everything was cleaned up and I went to edit. So just accept the fact that I'm a home cook and not a camera person, and I'm doing my best. But as far as the recipe goes, go for it. It was good. It was good, good, good. Subscribe, come back, hit the bell, give us a thumbs up, and I love spending time with you. Excuse my challenges that I come across on occasion when I'm trying to film by myself, but the recipe is worth making. Thank you. Bye. Wonderful weekend.